Welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Community of Charlotte. My name is Jay Leach. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm one of the ministers of this congregation. On Sunday, March 8th, 2020, many of us found our way to this room for services at 9:15 and 11:15. We sat together, greeted one another warmly, heard music, sang alongside one another, listened, reflected, meditated, lit candles, and contributed to offering baskets. Many formed a line afterward at the door to speak to Catherine Whitfield, who had been the lay service leader on that day, and to me. Some continued on to Freeman Hall for coffee and conversation before exiting out into a day that would warm into the low 60s. But there was something we didn't know, couldn't know. It would be the last time that we would come together in this room for all of 2020. And now, fully a year later, we still have not returned. And know that we must continue offering services in this virtual format for the coming weeks as well. Today's service marks the anniversary of our quarantine, the cessation of our in-person services, and the loss of our times together. As with each week's service, today's includes special gifts. Throughout this service, you'll have opportunities to read reflections from members of this congregation, responses to questions about the challenges, gifts, and learnings of this past year. Also, to mark this occasion, this service includes many of our musical greatest hits, remarkable offerings that were created for this virtual format. If you're watching this on Sunday morning, you aren't alone. Others are out there, a bit blurry from a 1-hour spring forward perhaps, but nonetheless watching along with you. Aware that it is hardly the same as the hugs and handshakes that we exchange together in this room. The warmth of your greeting on our public Facebook page will nonetheless serve to hearten both members and guests alike. Welcome, and thank you for being a part of this service.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
This is our congregation's chalice, symbol of our liberating religion. At the beginning of every service in this room, we have lit this chalice as a ritual reminder that we set aside this time as sacred in our lives. This room, though empty now, is filled with our memories of weekly services and of special occasions together here. In the symbolic light of this chalice, may we see and remember with greater clarity and gratitude all that has brought us together and that continues to bring us together, even now.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Badika Jones, who is the editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair magazine, recently wrote, "It's hard to know, still in the midst of it, how we'll remember this long and devastating pandemic year." This long and devastating pandemic year. It was, in fact, a year ago this past Thursday, March 11th, 2020, that World Health Organization General Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus offered a media briefing. The Ethiopian microbiologist and researcher spoke in a somber, deliberate tone, reporting the latest on COVID-19. There are, he said, now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries, and 4,291 people have lost their lives. We are, he continued, we are deeply concerned, both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. Then he announced, we have made this assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic. No one, absolutely no one could have imagined on that day when not yet 5,000 people were dead, that a year later our world would be mourning well over 2.5 million deaths, with thousands more still dying each day. Nor would anyone have believed that about 1 in 5 of those deaths would occur here in the United States, now over 530,000 and counting. Of course, what gets lost in those grim figures are the relationships, the families, the friends, the communities, forever diminished by these losses. Your relationships, my family, our friends, this community. For who of us has made it through this year without losing someone you loved or admired to COVID-19's cruelties? We each come to this day, this somber anniversary, with deep collective and personal sadness. As poet Blas Falconer puts it, this is your share of the world's grief, what you must carry. In part, we gather on this anniversary to share this burden, to acknowledge together our collective sorrow. Will we ever account for the magnitude of these losses? Will we ever fully heal from this horrific nightmare? It's hard to know. On that March day last year, Secretary General Ghebreyesus urged both world leaders and all the rest of us, prepare and be ready. Prepare and be ready. Were, in retrospect, it not so unthinkably bitter, the Secretary General's suggestion could come across as callous, even laughable. How in this world, how could this world have ever prepared for what has transpired? And who, with no way to know the tsunami that would soon crash onto the shores of our lives, who could have ever been ready? Within days of that media briefing, a viral storm began to blow through our lives that would leave no stone, from the more prosaic to the most profound, unturned. From how we buy our groceries to how we mourn our losses, from how and where we work to how and where we worship, from shuttered classrooms and sequestered hospital rooms to calm bedrooms become glitchy Zoom rooms, from marking our milestones to communicating with our families, from what we regard as essential to who we regard as essential. What would it have meant to have been prepared to be ready for all of this to change? It's hard to know. But, and this is one of my keenest learnings, or at least clearest reminders, we humans are a resilient species. Resilient and resourceful, kind and caring, malleable and more imaginative perhaps than we ever knew. Even as this storm has raged, we have reached out to one another, found ways to connect with those we love, for some of us more reliably than ever, express support and sympathy, stage impromptu celebrations of medical personnel, contributed resources to build funds for others' needs, taught and supported our children, created and shared breathtakingly beautiful music, greeted neighbors on more frequent walks and bike rides, continued to gather as spiritual communities in formats so many of us would have never imagined possible. A year removed from that ominous March briefing, it's so hard for any of us to make sense of it. How will we remember this long and devastating pandemic year, this challenging yet beautiful year? It's hard. It's hard to know.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over
am,
here,
you are
and
me.
you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something
I am,
between
you
us
are
that's
me.
greater than air.
Don't you
It seems
see?
like I'm
I
over
am,
here,
you are
and
me.
you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something
I am,
between
you
us
are
that's
me.
greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like
I
I'm over
am,
here,
you are
and
me.
you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something
I am,
between
you
us
are
that's
me.
greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over
I am,
here, and
you
you're
are me.
over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something
I am,
between
you
us
are
that's
me.
greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over here, and you're over there,
That's what I
but there is
said.
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
As the global health scare was becoming more concerning, less than 3 weeks before that World Health Organization briefing, while jogging outside of Brunswick, Georgia, Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man, was pursued and then murdered by 3 white men, one of whom was a former police officer. Shortly thereafter, a video made by one of the men was released, clearly depicting the attack. And yet, 74 days would pass before the men were arrested. They still await trial on murder charges. Just 2 days after that World Health Organization briefing, 3 white plainclothes police officers from the Louisville Metro Police Department broke into the home of Breonna Taylor, a 25-year-old black woman, as a part of a drug raid. Thinking they were intruders, Taylor's boyfriend fired a warning shot. The officers responded with 32 shots, 6 of which hit Taylor, murdering her in her own bed. The police admit Taylor's home was then never even searched. None of the officers involved has been charged in Taylor's death. 2.5 months after that briefing, as COVID-19 continued to tighten its grip on our lives, George Floyd Jr., a 46-year-old black man, was arrested outside a store in Minneapolis by 4 police officers. In the course of the arrest, one of them, Derek Chauvin, knelt with his knee on Floyd's neck for over 8 minutes. Shortly thereafter, Floyd was pronounced dead. Today, the officers await trial on charges that are still being disputed. 2 days after George Floyd's murder in broad daylight, our nation marked a somber milestone: 100,000 people dead from COVID-19. A spark lit in a rural Georgia subdivision, then fanned into a flame in a dark Louisville apartment, was fueled into a raging national conflagration outside of that neighborhood store in Minneapolis. Fed up, outraged, furious people took to the streets here in Charlotte and around the country and world to decry the ugly specter of police brutality and to declare that Black lives matter. A nation already reeling from the pandemic erupted as more and more people acknowledged white supremacy's grip on our country. Debates raged, local, state, and national legislation was proposed, police funding was called into question, commitments were expressed, changes were promised. But were we actually changed by last summer's unrest? Did it alter our course? It's hard to know. Already we'd come to understand that the virus was taking a disproportionate toll on Black and other communities of color. We'd begun recognizing that those who were being designated as essential workers were disproportionately Black and other people of color. And then with these 3 murders gaining such attention, there were those calling for a national reckoning. No longer could we deny what Black people had been trying to tell us for decades. But would white America listen? Really listen? Did white America listen? Really listen? It's hard to know. This long and devastating year has not just presented an unprecedented health challenge. It has challenged the very soul of our nation. Are we making strides towards justice? Are we becoming a more perfect union? Or are we just palliating matters with performative acts? It's hard to know. Have we really learned, as that brilliant young Black poet on our nation's most prestigious stage recently suggested, that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions, she said, of what just isn't always just is? Was she right in claiming that even as we grieved, we grew? That even as we hurt, we hoped? That even as we tired, we tried? While there's no question that she was right in admitting we did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, can we share her bold hope? That young, bold, Black woman's hope, that every nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. Diverse and beautiful, battered and beautiful. It's hard to know.
Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring me down. So don't you bring me down today. To all your friends, you're delirious, so consumed in all your doom, trying hard to fill the emptiness. The piece is gone, left the puzzle undone. Is that the way it is? You are beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down, 'cause you are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring you down. So don't you bring me down today. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, when the song inside the tune, full of beautiful mistakes. And everywhere we go, the sun will always shine. And tomorrow we might awake on the other side. 'Cause we are beautiful, no matter what they say. Yes, words won't bring us down. We are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words won't bring us down. So don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today. Good morning. Welcome. We're so glad that you're with us today. I am Kelly Green, Membership Coordinator for Unitarian Universalist Community of Charlotte. Over the past year, I have met visitors virtually when you have attended our visitor sessions, like getting to know us and meet a minister. In our Zoom coffee hour that happens after service every Sunday, and in the one-on-one chats that we have had on Zoom. I had no idea a year ago that this is how we would be connecting, and that it would turn out to be kind of fun and we'd have some really good conversations. Who knew? Who knew? If you are interested in learning more about this community, I encourage you to check out our website at www.uuccharlotte.org. There you can also sign up for our weekly e-newsletter, Currents, and that's where you can find out what's happening here, what's coming up in this vibrant community. If you have any questions at all about us, please contact me. You can message me through my comment on our Facebook page, on our public Facebook page. You can also email me at kelly@uuccharlotte.org. If you would like to get in touch with one of our ministers, you can let me know that, and I will help facilitate that for you. Again, thank you for being with us. Welcome. And I hope to get to meet you soon.
An article in this week's Time magazine entitled Vaccines versus Viral Variants warned, what's clear is that while vaccines remain effective, vaccine makers and public health officials have to remain vigilant. The virus won't sit still, and more variants are inevitable, given that viruses are trained to morph and find more efficient ways to infect new hosts. It occurred to me as I read that ominous warning that the inevitability of viral mutations is an apt metaphor for this anniversary milestone. The original virus about which we were so concerned has now morphed, mutated, moved on. So too for us, for better and for worse. From the early days of our shutdown, as we shuttered places so important to us, including this sanctuary, we've been asking, when can we get back to the way things were? When can we get back to the way things were? Of all things, that, my friends, is not hard to know. In fact, that answer is quite clear. Never. Never. As we mark this anniversary, it means each of us has had at least one COVID birthday, some of more momentousness than others. All else aside, we won't ever again be the same age we were when this virus initiated. And of course, it's about more than just numbers. We've changed, you and me. We're not the same people we were a year ago. And as we are reading and reflections today from our members, we've learned things, experienced things, endured things, and they have changed us. Remember that ancient wisdom from Heraclitus. Everything flows and nothing stays. Everything flows and nothing abides. Everything gives way and nothing stays fixed. Everything flows, nothing remains. All is flux, nothing is stationary. All is flux, nothing stays still. All flows, nothing stays. It led Plato to quote him declaring, "You could not step twice into the same river." After a long, long period of separation, we will come back together. We're now beginning that serious conversation, guided as ever by science and by the medical community, about a return to this room together. I cannot imagine that anyone is any more excited about that than I am. I know, however, that I am setting myself up for profound disappointment if I expect that we will ever get back to the way it was. We have changed, you and me. Our society, our nation, our world have been irrevocably changed. The cries from our streets for justice demand change, and we will make changes, intentional changes in our decades-long effort to be a community relevant to these particular times. We'll never again be the UUCC of 2020. And while there may be sorrow in that, so too is there great hope and possibility. Again, writes Jane Hirschfield, again the pyracanthus berries redden in the rain as if return were return. It is not. The familiar thing is not the thing it reminds of. Today's yes is different from yesterday's yes. Today has special poignancy for many of us. So it is perhaps of heightened importance that we pause to remind ourselves of needs that present themselves among our members. We hold with love and in our prayers on this day Kathy Salento as she recovers from a recent surgery, Brenda and Lloyd Dillon in this time of their respective ongoing health challenges, Linda Dobson as she continues to experience health challenges, Belinda Parry as her mom now enters under the care of hospice, and Michael and Barbara Searing as Mike continues to recover from his recent hospitalization. We call to mind on this day a former member, Bill Van Fleet, who died recently, and send our love to those who grieve this loss. And on this day again, we honor the memory of beloved members who we have lost during this time of painful separation, aware that we have not had our usual ways to mark and to mourn such losses as a community. Today serves also as an apt time to remind members that we created together our own CARES Fund, a special resource able to address needs that are specifically related to the pandemic. Reach out to me or to Eve if you would like to request assistance. And, as always, contact either of us if you have a special need. Were we together on this day, we'd be passing these baskets up and down each one of our pews. To be sure, we would invite, even encourage special contributions, even from those who are making generous pledges. But this is also a symbolic element of our services. These baskets serve to remind us that life is perennially calling on us, asking, what do you have to offer? As our service draws toward its conclusion today, I invite a special time of silence, a time for each of us to go deep within ourselves, to reflect, to express gratitude, to name concern, to extend our sense of connection to one another, to places of pain in our larger community and nation and world. And so today I invite us simply to hold collective silence together, to breathe deeply, to calm ourselves, to enter that deepest place of your own soul, to close your eyes, to join in meditation in silence together. Blessed be. Ashe. Amen. In words that appear in the back of our gray hymnal, my beloved friend and colleague of blessed memory, Elizabeth Sully Jones, writes, "We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of our commitment. These we carry with us in our hearts until we are together again." This long and painful year has included much that is beautiful and is worth celebrating. So we end this service with a gift from our house band to remind us that even when the days turn dark, there remain opportunities to dance.
Dance to the music. Dance to the music. Dance to the music. Dance to the music.
Hey, Eric! What?
All we need is a drummer for people who only need a beat, yeah.
I'm gonna add some bottom to make it easy to move your feet.
If I could hear the horns blow, a Benji on the throne, yeah! Listen to the voices.